What's going on, y'all? This is utxjgthedon, and I am doing something that I've actually been wanting to do for a very, very long time. As we have grown through the content creator journey, one of my goals was to actually just talk to the homies and just interview them, like just get into the deep dives of their content creation journey, normal things that they do in real life, because a lot of people just see us as content creators, and a lot of times it's not as human. So like, a lot of people don't really get to know the real us, and a lot of people don't get to know like the inner workings of how we got to this point. And I was just like, forget it. One of my actual like real goals was to travel and like see y'all in real life, and I still plan to do that. But for now, I wanted to do something like this. I just want to get it going and see what it takes us. I don't even have a name for this yet. Like I just was like, look, I'm inspired. Like let's just get into it while I really want to get this done. And you were like literally at the top of my list, bro. Literally at the top of my list. So if you don't know, if you don't know just by looking at the video here, I have Saving the Bees. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yes, so this was great. This was great. You were definitely one of the bigger inspirations for me, and I've been noticing you a lot more post the actual Game of Illuminati podcast where you were a guest. And I know that we haven't really got to play any games or whatever, but I definitely wanted to pick your brain a lot about some of the things that you have done in the past and leading up until now, because like I think a few things that I did notice about you was one, that you're actually cool as fuck. Like you're not just an asshole. Like how a lot of people want to perceive you because of your memes and your trolling, and when you go at it with people on Twitter, which 9 times out of 10 is not even your fault. Like I notice all this. I'm like, bro, like they be coming at you on some stupid stuff, and then you clap back at them, and then they get mad, and they're like, oh, like you sent everybody at me. I see it. I see it all the time. So
Thank you. It's about time somebody says that. But to clarify, I am an asshole, man.
yeah, okay, okay, all right. Well, yeah, self-proclaimed asshole. Hey, we will take it. We'll take it. Second thing I noticed about you is you have one of the best communities I have ever seen, and this is coming from someone who notices someone with bigger numbers than you that can't do what you do when it comes to merch like G Fuel, and anytime you have like you've been doing the champion drops, like the things that you have been doing have been crazy. So like your community is one of literally the best communities I have ever seen. And the third thing is you are one of the most like transparent people when it comes to just your community. Like you truly love your community. And I see this every time that you stream. I see this on Twitter. You talk to your fans all the time. Like it's truly inspiring to like see how far you've gotten and how you've cultivated your community, the hive, and how much that they ride for you at the end of the day. So I wanted to dive into that, but we'll get into that a little bit later, because I really want to know like how you cultivated your community, especially over the years. But let's go back. Let's go back. So I mentioned before we actually started hitting record that you did an interview with Adam22 for No Jumper back in 2017. So how did that even come about? How did that become a thing?
Ooh, oh man. That was that was something that happened very random because I was getting into it on Twitter with a lot of celebrities and they were blocking me. Like Gucci Mane blocked me, Lupe Fiasco blocked me, IGN blocked me. Um, who else? Engadget blocked me. I got blocked because I was it wasn't trolling. I was being an asshole. Like to be honest, I was being an asshole. It was a phase that I was going through where I feel like for me to get noticed, I had to be an asshole. I
Mm,
had to, like, because it was a different type of following that I had at that time. At that time, what got me out there was being an asshole, arguing with people, trying to be a dominant person. If somebody said any sort of criticism towards me, I would like flip on them
just now.
immediately. And
Okay.
it was something that like I was going through a really tough time around in that year because my dad had just passed away that year. And I was facing a lot of crossroads in my life. I didn't know if I was gonna move back to New York and take care of my mom. And I was just getting in trouble in social media. And so what ended up happening was Adam22 made a post on Twitter, and like I'm talking about like 1,000 people replied with me. I never heard of him at that point. I was like, sure, I'll do a podcast. And when he said where the podcast was filming, I'd happened to be in the area already. Now, when he reached out to me, it was probably like 9 months before when the podcast actually happened.
Wow.
It was a while just because I was broke and I couldn't afford to travel. I was at zero income from 2015 all the way till about 2019. I was living off of savings and whatever sponsorships I can take from social media. So I had to coordinate how was I going to get down there. Now I live in Sacramento and his studio is in SoCal, specifically Los Angeles, or it was like Melrose. So I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how I'm going to get there. And it just took a long time before I could commit to it. And so him and I spoke in the DMs here and there. And I realized, oh, he's a pretty cool person. And I just didn't understand how to go about this collaboration.
Mm.
So I said, fuck it, I'll go for it. And I was in the area and we were scheduled for another date. I happened to be in the area. So I hit his line. I was like, yo, I'm around. You want to knock this out real quick? He was like, yeah, 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 come through. And I showed up to his studio probably like at 12 o'clock in the morning and we just filmed it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So that's exactly what I want to hear. I want to hear that backstory. Like a lot of people think, when interviews happen like that, it was just, I mean, sometimes it does end up just being spontaneous, but a lot of people don't realize like the time that it takes because people are busy, people are busy. And in your specific case, you say you couldn't afford it, at the time, but you just so happened to be down there. So you made it work. So that was dope. That was dope. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot through that interview that I didn't know about you. Because again, like we never really had the time to sit down and talk, and I didn't really go back and watch a lot of your earlier content back then. Like I know the you now. Like I've been following you again a lot since the GI podcast. So I followed you on Twitch and I followed you on Twitter. So I know a lot about you through that. So I definitely wanted to get more of the backstory. So how did you make the transition from Barack Obama to saving the bees? What did that entail?
That happened completely by accident. Like it wasn't necessarily a calculated plan. My whole social media presence wasn't calculated. And so when I became Saving the Bees in 2017, specifically May 2017, um, my old Twitter handle got suspended. I got suspended because someone called me a homophobic slur and I clapped back. And as a joke, I was like, okay, well, you're a loaf of bread. I got suspended for targeted harassment.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's literally what happened. And I didn't find out till 2019, 2 years later. That
Wow.
was the tweet that got me suspended.
Wow.
S- So I was like, you know what, man? That was my fifth time getting suspended on that account. And I'm like, you know what? I can't keep doing this where I'm on a I'm building, I'm growing, I was about to hit 200,000 at that point. I was like, and that was a lot at that time. That's still a lot now, but at
Hmm.
that time, social media, the climate of social media was completely different. Growing on Twitter was very fucking hard. Getting 10,000 retweets then was like, oh shit, you're famous. You know what I mean? Now people get 10,000 retweets just by tweeting nothing,
Yeah.
right? And so then I'm like, you know what? I can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing something, then my account gets clapped. I gotta start all over on this account. I'm just gonna make a brand new account. Turns out I had a backup account already at that time where I was preparing for this. Because I knew my time was coming. I knew it. That type of content, that type of humor, there's no longevity in it. You know,
Mm.
it wasn't like I was being a fake persona or anything. That was me. Like literally, that was me. It was just my mentality at that time was different, and I knew there was no longevity. So I said, you know what? Let me start fresh. Even though I'm allergic to bees, I love bees. I love the color scheme, and at that time, I was doing a lot of awareness for bees because they were considered endangered in that year. So I said, fuck it. Let me just start this account. And I asked my Discord, I was like, what should be my new name? And somebody said, oh, it should be something with bees. Originally, it was going to be Saving the Bees with a G, but it was taken. So I put Saving the Bees. And then boom.
And ta-da, there we go. Very interesting, very interesting. Yeah, I didn't know if that was calculated or not, but I had a feeling it did have something to do with either you getting suspended or your previous names were quote unquote, stifling your growth because you know how the industry is. You've been in here for a long time. You know that certain names and certain personas just don't look right to, the brands and stuff. So because even my boy, TBH, because he was Modern War Negro back in the day, and he had to ultimately change his name for branding. So I know how that goes. Okay. So yeah, so that again another interesting story. So yeah, we're really diving into this. I didn't know the origin. So that's cool. That's cool. So let's get back to the question I asked before. How did you cultivate such a devoted and loyal fan base? I really want to know, like, if you wait, you may not even have the answer to this like fully. It may just be, just a bit of luck, but to the best of your ability, how did you cultivate such a loyal fan base?
I think from my point of view, it was just being myself. Right. And it's not like, oh, myself, I'm the shit or something. I mean like being myself, not trying to be anyone else. Because in this industry, a lot of people try to emulate each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what ends up happening is people get caught in the emulation, right? And they put this persona that eventually falls apart. Witnessed it, you know what I mean? And so where I said, you know what, I'm always gonna be myself. Always. Since I first started in 2012, I'm always gonna be myself. But I think once I broke free from like constantly being toxic on social media and just realized like, I don't need to be like that. Um, I really do care about my community, and I showed them that, by listening, just always being transparent. If they messaged me, I responded. And a lot of people don't want advice. They just want to be heard. And I realized that most people just want to be heard, and I was here to listen. So that kind of like snowballed into like just gravitating people towards me. And I showed them like I'm just like you, man. Like, I got my bad days, I got my great days. I opened up about myself, about mental health issues I've struggled with, and people saw that I'm just a regular person, but I'm me. I'm not trying to be anybody else. And so I think there was a time where uh my community saw how I will always be there, right? Like there was times where there were other people in other communities being toxic to people in my community, and I will go and defend them. I will put my social media presence on the line to defend people in my community who were being bullied, harassed for their gender, for their race, just for anything that I saw that they needed me to be there for. I was there, and we just started growing, and people witnessed that once they interacted with us, whether it was in stream chats, it was on Twitter or whatever, they saw that it was a community that is very accepting of who you are. We have a lot of people who fight for black rights, gay rights, trans rights, and just overall equality. And we know how to take a joke. We all know about respect, and that's very rare to find in communities. So when people saw that, hey, You're not gonna get bashed for liking a certain anime or a manga or comic or whatever. You could talk about it. You might get people who might disagree, but it's always civil. You don't find that on Twitter anymore, and people started gravitating towards that, And I think that is what made our community where we are today. Yeah, and it just started with me being me, just being myself.
That's very
That's how
dope.
I see it.
Yeah,
That's how I
yeah.
see it.
It's very dope, and you definitely touched on something that I found was important as well. Even though I didn't think about it consciously until someone actually told me, and it's always the small things. Like I've had people again DM me as well, and just asking a random question. It doesn't even have to be anything deep, but I would always answer, and they always were like thanks, and they always added like, "Hey, I appreciate you for responding," and again, I'm like, really, I'm just doing a regular thing, but I guess to other people, it is more important, especially when a lot of people feel like they can't touch you because you're at a certain level that they want to put you at. But when you show that you are a human and that you do care, it does go a long way. So you just continue to do that, and you are where you are now. That's very
A-
dope.
and a lot of it is hospitality too. To me, it's like if you come to my chat, I want you to feel welcome. I want you to feel like, I'm appreciating you taking your time versus, oh, it's another streamer who feels entitled to making money off of me. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because to me, I know what it is to be a viewer going to different streams and feeling unnoticed until I donate $5 or $10 or give some subs. And it's a bad feeling. It's a really shitty feeling. And we don't do that in our community. There's a lot of times where, and you've witnessed it. You could come to my stream chat, and immediately, if you're new, you're gifted a sub from somebody in my community.
mm,
Because if that makes you feel like you're welcomed, my community and I want you to feel that. We want you to feel like you have a place where you belong. And it's shady that it comes. It's so rare to feel that on social media. But we're looking to change the game,
yeah.
and I think that is why we managed to grow the way we are. Hospitality is really important.
That's super dope, super dope. And that kind of leads into my next question. Besides you interacting with your community, I don't really see you, or at least publicly, and I'm just speaking about Twitter because this is the main thing that I see. I don't really see you interacting with too many like big content creators outside of like rhyme style. Like I see you like you interact with him, and then Bebop, like you just went to a trip with him. So how did that come about? Like, is that something that you are just consciously doing, like just not messing with a lot of the other people in the community, whether you have in the past or you just chose to not do now? Is that just a conscious decision just to keep your circle super small and only mess with a finite amount of people and your community?
It's it's I think it comes from the experience that I've had with being a creator for so long. It's just I don't trust influencers. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Like I just don't, man. Like you go and you befriend an influencer, and then suddenly, boom, they're a pedophile. Boom, they just committed sexual assault like 2 or 3 years ago before you met that person. Like, and so what happens is you get dragged into it, right? But it's not even that. That's just a small fraction of it. A lot of I'll give you an example. When Smash Ultimate came out, me, I had a large group of friends who were creators, and we were all in a Discord. And we started allowing here and there like smaller creators into the Discord and stuff like that. And I realized that that Discord was all about just content. Nobody actually cared about being friends. And
mm,
that's not how I roll. And so one day, someone tagged me and like four other people and was like, "Yo, you guys want to play Smash?" And it was my off day. I literally had no work, no streaming, nothing. And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's play." I boot up my Switch. I sit in my office right here, and I'm getting ready. And the dude tweets, "All right, going live on Twitch with Saving the Bees. We're streaming Smash Ultimate," and tags everybody. I'm like, "Wait, I didn't agree to be on the stream."
mm.
And he goes, "Oh yeah, I just want you guys to be in my stream real quick if you could share it." I'm like, "No, no." I was like, "I thought we were just gonna be homies and play offline." You know what I mean? I like I was literally in a fucking robe. My camera is off. I'm just trying to have a good time. And then I started to realize something. People in the industry do not give a fuck about just turning off. They just want to do content. If it doesn't apply to their content, whether it's Instagram, if they got nothing on Instagram, they're not interested. If they got nothing to stream, they're not interested. If they got nothing to make a YouTube video about, they're not interested. I'll give you another example. E3, right? I have been to over 75 events in the span of like 5 years. That's a live event to go to in 5 years. And it never fails. Every time a bunch of, homies that you only know online want to meet up, hey, let's go to Korean barbecue. Dope. Let's do it. And then suddenly there's always one person who wants to live stream.
Yeah.
Every fucking time. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to eat, bro. I'm just trying to have a good time and hang out with the homies, but somebody needs to turn it into content and monetize it
Mhm.
every time. And I'm just like, bro, is this how influencers really are? Where they only care about monetization? I'm just trying to have a good time, be with homies and hang out. So then I think for me, the final straw was when I realized how a lot of people are quick to just throw someone else under the bus. And because I will witness it, I'm just like, okay, you're doing that to someone for whatever cause you think is right. What's to stop you from doing that to me? Just because you wake up one day and you don't like me. You know what I mean? And so I started putting it in my head. A lot of times it's experience from what I witnessed, but also like, you know, the human mind, it could be your greatest enemy. And a lot of times I started developing this mentality. Oh, this person wants to get close to me because they want to use me. Oh, this person only wants to get close to me because they want to benefit off of me. Because it has happened before.
Mhm.
A lot. A lot more than I wish I can say. And so I just like kind of sat back and I told myself, I'm just gonna focus on my community. I'm just gonna focus on that. Just cause I'm just tired of people trying to like make money off of me or make money off of my friends or my community.
Yeah.
And the circle started getting smaller because when people realize that they can't benefit off of you, they drop off like flies. And the circle started getting smaller and smaller to the point where I'm 34 now, right? There was a time where all the friends that I had just on social media, not real life, I couldn't even begin to list them. Now I don't know if I can list them with one hand because the minute they can't use you, it's gone. And people get mad at you when they don't get what they want from you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that has happened. And it was always a revelation in that case.
Nah, you were spitting, and I think that one of the first point that you brought up is so true. And I think that's why even with us in GI, like I feel like it for some parts I feel like it was for our detriment because we did have the mantra GI versus everybody, and I think that a lot of people did see it as they literally don't fuck with anybody but themselves, which wasn't true. Like, we do have a small circle of friends that we do care about and we do genuinely mess with, and we share their content or whatever, play games with. But I think that a lot of, and we've actually heard it from, a good amount of people. It's like, I thought that y'all didn't, y'all didn't like us. And we were like, well, what gave you that reason, right? Like, I think we just took a conscious decision early on. Like, if we can sense that there might be something off about you, like as a human being, then we're just like, well, we're going to cut it off. Like, we're not even going to try to interact with you in the first place. I think that a lot of us do have a good sense of like who's a good human being and who's not. And the second point you brought up, oh my God, that's so true. Like, if one chance that somebody's going to get canceled, it's like, all right, well, everybody's going to jump on your head, and then you're like, damn, I thought you was my friend. Like, And we've seen it happen a lot in the anime community, in the Smash community, a whole lot. So yeah, I do fully understand what you mean there. So yeah, that does make sense, and and from your personal experience as well. And I kind of figured, but I definitely wanted to get your insight as to why you keep your circle so small. So I had a strong feeling it was probably from personal experience as well. But yeah, you were definitely spending on that. Definitely spending on that.
There's a couple other reasons too, man. Like other people's fan bases. There's I have friends. I have a lot of people who are in the social media space, and some of them have small followings, some of them have large followings. I don't discriminate, right? Like I don't care how big of a following somebody has. But then when I see how they interact, right? Like there's some people whose followings is just it's so bad, man. It's so bad. It's like it reflects the person a little bit, right? Like if your community is so engaging through racism and hateful content, that might make you just a little bit racist and hateful too, to a degree, because you're
Mhm.
allowing it. Either you don't give a fuck and you just say, "Oh, I can't do anything about it," or you egg them on. And I've seen that, and I'm just like, man, I thought we've had conversations before. I didn't know you like saying the N word real hard, R. But here you are in a Discord call with like 3,000 people watching and you letting them do it in your calls and stuff like that. And then it's like, bro, like it's really difficult to get close to people in in content creation, man, because there's always these red flags that just pop up. And it's really hard because you have to protect yourself. Because if you don't protect yourself, nobody will. And all it takes is a guilty by association with the wrong person. Your sponsors are gone, your community turns on you, everything just falls apart. Everything that you worked hard for just falls apart. And I think for me, one of the biggest things was like the tragedies that has happened too. Uh, I I've lost two really close friends in my life. Right, like my best friend passed away in 2009 because of bone marrow cancer, and then um, I became really close with Erica really quick. Right, like I knew him for like 3 years at one point, and we that was the closest I've ever gotten to anybody in content creation in a short amount of time. To the point where like he's texting me randomly at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He's trying to video chat me and we're like and then he's gone. He's just
Yeah.
gone. And so, for me, I was just like, man, I couldn't open myself up to make any new friends. I'm still
Mm.
like trying to learn how to be more sociable and trusting. But like that was like a huge stab in the chest for me. Um, and that just made it difficult for me to be social because I felt like was there something I could have done? You know what I mean? There's like this guilt where it's like, have I done something? Because I'm from New York, but I live in California. I was like, what if I was still in New York
Mm-mm.
and I was just a train ride away to go find them? I could have done something. That's something that I kept telling myself. I was like, yeah, I can't make friends, man. I'm too damaged from a lot of things, and that's one of them. And so I'm just like, yeah, people got to keep their distance for a minute because I got to work on myself a little bit. So it was like a little bit of everything just piling on.
Yeah.
It's mostly just I don't trust people, just because trust is something that you earn, right? I used to be a person where it's like, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to trust you until you prove me not to trust you. And then it flipped
Mm.
over the course of the couple of years because I got done dirty by creators. I got done dirty by brands. So that's just put me in the place where I am. But it worked out in my favor though.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely been a positive. I didn't mean for it to be get so dark, but it kind of went there.
I got to be honest about it, man.
No, I appreciate
I got to
that.
be real
I
because
appreciate the honesty.
people are going to listen and like they might say, shit, I'm like that too, man.
Yeah,
And then they realize, it's more common than they think. And it's okay to not want to make friends in this creative space. It's okay to just want to focus on your community. Like
yeah,
you don't need to have friends in higher places to make it in this industry. Like a lot of people perceive it to be.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And you're a shining example. You're doing well for yourself. So okay, congrats to you for,
Thank you.
after, your experience, molding you into the person that you are now. So let's transition to something more positive here. What was your aha moment? What was that moment that you were like, all right, this is where I feel fully confident in taking the plunge and doing content creation full time?
Um, I think it's when Twitch approached me. Well, there was a couple little small instances. I think when I first started streaming in 2015, yeah, I got partnered on my first stream. Like Twitch, people from Twitch were like, "Wait, who is this guy?" I literally was just streaming from my PS4 because my community at the time asked me to stream, and there was people from Twitch who worked at Twitch watching my stream, and I'm just like, "Why do I have a lot of eyeballs on me right now?" I'm like, "Okay," and then I got an email from Twitch inviting me to their partner program. And I had no idea what it was. So I made a post. I was like, "Should I apply to be a Twitch partner?" And then suddenly I was a partner. I didn't apply for it.
Mm,
Suddenly I had a partner badge. And I'm like, "Okay, I'm doing something right." I took a break until 2017. Um, I started streaming more consistently where it's scheduled. Because back then I will only stream maybe like an hour randomly. I had no schedule. It was just based on my free time because I used to work for corporate America around that time. I used to live in the Midwest. So then the true aha moment was TwitchCon. I went to TwitchCon 2017 and Twitch gave me a meet and greet. And they give like a select few a meet and greet. And I will never forget this, man. This was my first real meet and greet. And the line was insane. There was a UFC champion, Demetrius Johnson, literally 2 booths down, and my line wrapped around his.
damn.
And Twitch had to extend my meet and greet by a half an hour. There was somebody who was to take my place after that, and she made a complaint and tried to get me kicked out. I will never forget that.
Oh my
She
god.
was mad. I'm not gonna say her name, but she's a big streamer, and she got mad that my line wasn't over and they weren't booing her, so they moved her to a different area. And she was pissed because more people kept coming to my line, and they're like, "Okay, we can only give you a half an hour. We gotta wrap it up." So I took the meet and greet to the Hilton lobby, and we all just mobbed over there, and we were just having a good time.
That's dope.
And I and when I saw how many people actually showed up, and I will never forget this, on that line, there was a man who flew from Australia 2 days notice with his girlfriend just to meet me, and he showed me the itinerary that he was leaving the next day. He only cared to meet me.
Wow.
And I was like, "Wait," I was like, "Dude, you spent a couple of G's to fly from Australia all the way over here just to meet me." I was like, "I gotta give you your money back or something."
Mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, and so I was like, "Damn, man, like, maybe I'm doing something right. Let me just keep going." And these little things just kept on pushing me forward over and over. Then Twitch gave me a front page slot. And I noticed that they would give people front page slots for like maybe a week. You'll get one a week or something like that. They gave me a whole month, a whole freaking month. And I was just like, what did I do to deserve that?
Mm,
And someone just said, just take your blessings, man. Don't question it. Just take your blessings. Just keep doing what you're doing and accept the blessings. And I didn't know how to accept it because I was not making any money at that time. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what direction I was going to go, you know? And the blessings just kept happening. And then I saw how beautiful the community we have built. Um, you know, and by we, I mean like the community and I.
Mm.
you know. Um, I just saw it kept growing, how strong it was getting. It's not growing fast like how people skyrocket, you know what I mean? I'm very happy with that. I like growing steadily and just having quality over quantity, right? And I saw how just dope everybody is, man. And I said to myself, yeah, I'm doing something right. We're doing something right. And yeah, it just kept paying off. Um,
That's super dope. Shout out to Body Mouse, but yeah, that's that would be crazy though. He was like, "Wait, I'm a UFC fighter." Like, I love the picture, like when he was in
yeah,
the UFC. Yeah, but that's
that
crazy
was
though.
that was insane. I didn't even know he was down there until somebody was IRL streaming and they showed okay. I someone sent me the clip and to this day I don't know who was streaming, but it was some chick. She was IRL streaming, right? From her phone. And she showed the line from TwitchCon. And someone said, "Yo, that's Saving the Bees line." They said it was Mighty Mouse's line, but it was actually mine, and it wrapped around. And the reason why people realize it is because the line started moving in the direction, and she went back and followed the line up until my booth.
Mm,
And that's when I realized I didn't realize how long the line was because I couldn't see from that far. I got bad vision, so like, and it was kind of like the lighting was weird. You know, everything was like purple, and I'm just like, yeah, I couldn't see that far until somebody pulled up the video clip in front of me. I was like, oh shit,
yeah,
like that's a long line.
like seeing their perspective, like made it even like
Yeah,
more crazy, right? Yeah,
yeah. And so I took a picture and I tweeted it at that time. I was like, yo, I was like, that's crazy. And then people replied to that tweet. They're like, oh, I didn't even know you had a meet and greet. I'm going over there right now. So then it started stacking,
mm,
and I'm like, bro, the meet and greet is only like 45 minutes. I was like, yeah, like, y'all making Twitch mad at me. I was making a joke. I was like, y'all making Twitch mad at me because now they extended my stay. Um, and I will never forget, may he rest in peace. His name is Kevin Lawler. He worked at Twitch and he was the one who gave me that slot.
oh man, we
Yeah.
got yeah, we both have history with Kevin, man. That was
Yeah.
sad. That was sad
He,
to see him
he was
die
the one
suddenly.
he was the one that extended my meet and greet by
Yeah,
half an hour.
that's a good guy. That's a really
Yep.
good guy, man. R.I.P. to Kevin. R.I.P. to
He
Kevin.
was he was the reason why I got the front page slot, the meet and greet, and extended my meet and greet.
Mm, yeah, really good guy. Really stand up guy. All right. So let's get into like some of the types of content creation that you do. So you started off with, the memes, and then we kind of got, virality and more notoriety from, getting getting blocked by everybody under the sun. And then, got into the anime community. Like I said, you did a lot of work with Viz Media, and of course gaming. So what do you consider yourself now in 2022? What if someone said, who was saving the bees, how would you describe yourself?
I'm just a person that does whatever I want, man. Like variety is very important in creation because lack of variety kills channels.
Yeah.
People get bored, right? And so I like to just do what's fun for me at the time. And there was a time where I really loved doing anime stuff. Not even just creation, just like talking to people about anime, uh, community nights where we were watch anime and discussing new chapters from manga that was trending at the time. And then I realized that I started building a community that was just too specific to that.
Mhm.
And I saw how like that would just get people shoot themselves in the foot, you know? So I said, you know what, let me incorporate some more gaming discussions and just, like yesterday I was streaming and we just chatted for 3 hours, and we had a lot of people in there. And that to me just shows that like when you do what you want and you're happy doing what you want, people gravitate to that happiness.
People can tell.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's contagious. So like if you're having a good time streaming, like imagine you're just streaming a game for 8 hours that you hate playing.
It
There's
happens
people
all
who
the
do that
time.
with Yeah, there's people who do that with Call of Duty Warzone. They hate Warzone. They hate it. They're always mad, but they stream it because that's where their viewership comes from. Because
Yep.
they're good at it. But they're miserable. You know, there's some streamers out there who look like they aged 10 years playing nothing but Fortnite and Warzone or League of Legends, and
Mhm.
they're miserable doing it. And I look at it. I'm a very observant person. I'm just like, I don't want that to be me. So I just literally do what I want. Of course, it comes with sacrifice, right? Like a new game came out, but I'm not interested in streaming it right now. I just missed out on potentially growing because I'm choosing to play something like Halo 3 that only has like 300 viewers on the directory on Twitch versus playing, a new drop on, I don't know, like Apex or Fortnite or even Call of Duty Warzone or something like that that's trending and far more popular where I can, probably hit 7 on the directory and get discovered. I just missed out on that opportunity. So, it comes with sacrifice. I always tell people, if you want to do what you want, you have to remember it comes with sacrifice.
Yeah.
If a game just dropped and it's popular and you see everybody jumping on because they're farming the views off of it and you don't jump on, it could hurt you because that's just the nature of the game right now. Where if you're not doing what's popular and you don't have an established fan base or viewership from it, you're not going to grow. And I
Mhm.
realize I don't want to fall into that. I don't want to fall into doing something I don't want to do because I think that reflects a creator too, right? Like people who are very obvious who are in this just for the money.
Yeah. It's a
They just
slow
in here
grind.
for the clout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very slow
and
grind.
yeah, and like I'm just like, look, the money's great. Don't get me wrong. Like money's dope. We need money. I need money. Everybody needs money to sustain themselves. But it's like when you get wrapped up and chasing money, it's like a dog chasing a car. You're never gonna catch that bag that you think is there. And so if you're just having fun with it and let everything come to you, you're gonna have a good time. And then you just work hard, you work smart, things will go your way. There's gonna be times where it doesn't go your way, but it's okay because you're in control and you're able to do it. And I told myself, I want to be in control of where I go.
Mhm.
I don't want to one day stream something because it's popular and I get stuck streaming that. And then suddenly I hate streaming. I'm like the dozens of other creators who are now treating it like a job rather than treating it something that's fun to do.
Yeah.
Something that was that the original intent was something that's fun to do.
Yeah, that's a gem right
You
there.
know?
So definitely pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. If you were watching this video, that's very important, and that's one of the things that I try to stress as well to the community because they always ask the same question: How do you grow? How do you grow? How do you grow? I'm like, well, you have multiple routes. You can either do whatever the hell you want, and it's going to be a slow grind. Just have to let you know, or you can stick to one game or one genre and people will know you for that. And then just be prepared because it's going to be hard to get out of. You literally putting yourself in the box. And we've seen it happen. It's like, do you want the rapid growth or do you want to get the slow grind? But people will mess with you for whatever that you do, and you also at the end of the day you will have more opportunities because if you're doing anime, if you're doing gaming, if you're doing music, if you're doing sports, you're going to get different brands, you're going to get different audiences coming to you for those things. So it can still work out, but you just have to decide early on like what you truly want to do. So that's
Yeah.
yeah, that's very important. So I like that, you're just like whatever, like I just do whatever I want. I don't want to put myself in this box. I saw it happen. I saw people trying to label me as that meme guy. I saw people trying to label me as that anime guy, and I was like, no, I'm not having it. Let's just do whatever the hell we want over here, and
Exactly.
and let's make it happen. I
Yeah,
do
and
I do want to
I
tell you,
don't
you
want
did
to.
get me to watch JoJo's though. You did get me to watch JoJo's,
Good,
and
good. I have
it's
that
one of my
shit
favorite.
tatted. Yeah, I have that shit tatted in my arm. So I gotta, tell people watch it, man. Like or read it if you could find the manga, read it. I always want to put people onto things that make me happy because it might change your life and make you happy, and then we could all just be happy together. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But the one thing I do want to emphasize is like when it comes to growing on social media, y'all better listen to this. Stop trying to start from zero on Twitch. Stop. Like just stop trying to start from zero on Twitch. There is no growth promotion on Twitch.
None.
What I did was I focus on everything but Twitch first, and I focus on a slow growth because when you grow fast, you're not gonna know how to handle that. You're not experienced. You're not gonna know how to handle what it is to go viral, what it is to have over 1 million subs in 3 months and stuff like that. And it might change you for the wrong reasons. But most importantly, growing fast means you could lose everything faster than you earned it. When you focus on everything slowly and you're more attentive to everything and the more slower grind, you will be fine if you end up losing a page or a profile or something like that. Like how often do you see people blow up on like TikTok or YouTube? Then they get suspended and they lose their account. And because they didn't focus on their Twitter or their Instagram, they guys really start from scratch. And it's never the same.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And that's because they focus on the rapid rate. They just focus on feeding their subscribers the content that made them viral in the first place, and then it's gone. And no one's immune to losing their accounts. It happens to everybody. And if it hasn't happened to anybody, I pray it doesn't. But it's a scary thing to like blow up on one platform and then you wake up one day it's gone.
Yeah.
This happened to me before. But I kept my cool and I realized that I have a very strong platform outside of Twitter already and that I could rebuild. And I managed to rebuild. It took a couple of years because there's a couple of years' work that was lost. But it's something that's very important. A lot of people want to wake up and think it's an overnight process. You don't want that overnight fame. You want something that is steady, is true, and has a lot of quality to it. And, don't rush the process. That's what I did. I didn't want to rush the process. I want to enjoy the journey. Because one day, everything's going to feel like it happened so fast. And then you're not going to remember much of it.
Yeah.
You want to enjoy the ride. That's
That's
why.
true.
That's how I saw things.
That's true. That's true. No, that's dope. That's a dope mindset. That's a dope mindset. Let's get into the more professional type of things. I want to ask you, what was your first brand deal? And second question, what was your favorite brand deal? That could be something that you've done in the past or something that you are currently doing.
My first brand deal. Um, okay, so this gets a little complicated because I was partnered with Funimation and Viz Media since like 2015, but I didn't make a dime from them till 2018. I was partnered with Loot Crate and SteelSeries in 2017, and Loot Crate paid me in 2017 to promote them. That was like my official contracted signed partnership. So like I could say like was my first true brand deal, but if you're not getting paid for it, is it really a deal? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess it's up to the person because to be honest, if we're gonna talk about like money or longevity and stuff like that, it would be G Fuel because I got partnered with G Fuel in 2017, and then I got my actual contract and my first shaker in 2019 with them.
Mhm.
So it's kind of difficult. I would probably say my first brand deal was probably Funimation then.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, the
And then
first
G Fuel
company I
ended up
worked
being
with.
your biggest one so far.
Yeah, my biggest one, my most prominent one, because it's still ongoing. I'm about to re-sign in a couple of months, and then we just dropped something, and it's still ongoing.
Yeah, you always drop this stuff. We're breaking the website every single time that you about to do a drop, man. It's crazy,
It's
but
crazy.
it's lovely to see. Lovely to see. A couple rapid fire questions. I don't want you to take too much time on these, but let's get more into the human side of saving the bees. When did you start gaming?
I was I don't know how old I was. I want to say I was like maybe 5 or 6 years old, but I got Sega Genesis with Mortal Kombat and an adventure game called Booger Man on there.
That was my
And
shit, bro. Remember Booker
And I would
Man?
yeah, and I would literally if you guys don't know what it is, it's a side-scrolling adventure game about a man who flicks boogers. He's a superhero, and that's his power. And it was the funniest shit as a kid, just playing that. He farts and stuff, like, it's super kid-friendly, it's toilet humor for me. And so, that's when I first started gaming, and then I got a Nintendo 64 when I was 12 years old, and I got Smash Bros, Pokemon Stadium, and, there was another game that I got, and I don't remember it. But that is what like really sucked me into gaming. The
Okay.
Nintendo 64.
What's your favorite genre of gaming?
Ooh, that's a tough one. It's either fight. Well, it's not so much fighting anymore. It will probably be more like action adventure type games, like Devil May Cry.
Okay. Okay. That's what I figured.
But
I thought you might
but
have
then
said
like
fighting,
but then
but
like Elden Ring, but then like Elden Ring shows up and it brings like the RPG elements to it, and that absorbed me for months. Elden Ring, like I wasn't going outside. I stopped hitting the gym. I stopped cooking food, bro. I was like door dashing and Uber eating every fucking day because I was just wanting to play Elden Ring. I was skipping out on meetings. It just sucked me in, and it just I realized like that's the type of game that I really love to play.
I don't know, you were wilding. But Elden Ring was worth it though. It's a really good game.
Yeah.
Really freaking good game.
I played like 300 hours in like 2 months, man.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. I played so much. I had to stop playing. I had to literally uninstall it from my PC because I
That's what I
kept
did.
blue screening, bro. And, like, it literally got to a point when I was done playing. I tried to load, like, I tried to turn my computer back on in blue screen. I was like, this is some bullshit. At least I beat it though, but I was so bad. I was like, damn, I want to keep playing it though. I was like, I'm not gonna risk
I
it
had
anymore.
to I had to uninstall it because like I was missing out on life, man.
Yeah,
It was like literally really absorbing me.
that's crazy. That's crazy. All
And
right.
then fighting games would be my second.
Fighting game be your second. Okay. Yeah, because I saw you went to Evo and that's what we originally hit you up. How was that, by the way? How was Evo?
Evo is always dope, man. Evo, you know what it is? A lot of people think the fighting game community is toxic, and it is. Almost every community that is part of a fandom is toxic to a degree. But a lot of people forget that social media is not a real place. How people are in social media is not real. And when you see people in the FGC in the fighting game community, being hateful towards somebody, they don't do that at these events. Evo is a very welcoming and friendly environment. It's almost like night and day how different the communities are. It's the same thing with like anime expos. Well, not actual anime expos, just like anime conventions and stuff
Mhm.
like that. Like everybody's real cool. And so like I go to Evo one because it's in Vegas. Vegas is my favorite city in the US. Two, Evo, the energy is unmatched. The energy is insane. When it's what not even when it's like the grand finals, which is like on the last day. I'm talking about just everybody just seems to be in unison on how dope it is. When you're watching Street Fighter, everybody's putting energy into it. Nobody's bored. Everybody is like super invested into it. Tekken, anything. And that's why I go to Evo. And I love it, man. And the last Evo that just passed, it wasn't my favorite Evo, but it was still one of my favorite experience.
I want to go one day. I love Evo. I
You
love
gotta
Evo so
do it,
much.
man.
Yeah, I want to
I
go one
highly
day.
recommend it. I
Maybe
highly
next
recommend it
year. Maybe
because
next year I go.
yeah, because one thing is to be a player, right, and play fighting games and stuff like that. But when you take a break and you just spectate, there's nothing like it. Especially when you know what's going on or you're there with people who know what's going on and you start to learn. Because I love to learn when it comes to fighting games. I always love to watch games I've never heard of. I just discovered there was a game called Melty. Never heard of it. But I decided to go to the section that was streaming it and they were playing. It was the finals. And it was so fun, man. I was like, damn, I'm not going to play it, but I would definitely come back and watch it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's something about watching competitive fighting games that really gets me. And I remember like one year, it might have been like 2014 or something. In Street Fighter, I'm trying to figure out, and I think it might have been actually earlier, but it was when Street Fighter 4 was still being played at Evo, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go get me a fight stick. I was like, I want to try to play, then I realized that I didn't want to put the time into it to really get good. I was like, bro, I quit. But I was like, I'll still watch the competitive people play. Then I just started
Um,
learning about all the big names, the Justin Wongs, the F champs. Like I started learning about like all of those guys, and and Marvel. Like I still miss Marvel, bro. Like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, like because they fucked up with Marvel Infinite. I was so mad about that, but I still like I thought that was the most hype game at that time was Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So like those moments were super dope. So yeah, I definitely want to experience it in person one of these years. And once I realized the importance of not having to actually be into a certain fighting game, like actually going to play the fighting game. Like you can have just as much fun being a spectator going there. Once I realized that, I'm like, okay, like I actually want to go one of these years, so I might go. I might
And
go.
it's in Vegas, right? Like Vegas is not about being a degenerate. Like I don't drink, I don't go to strip clubs, I don't do any of that. But I love going to Vegas
Mm.
because Vegas there's always something to do in Vegas. And I always tell people, I was like, there's always something for it's believe it or not, Vegas has a lot of families over there. The amount of people who bring their kids over there is insane. And so that means to me, it's like, yeah, it's not just isolated to just drinking and partying like people think it is. So, like, when I go, I'm not at the event when I go to Evo all day, every day. I'm literally there probably for like 2 hours. And the rest of the time, I'm doing something else. Just because, like, I can't be in one place for too long. I have to, like, keep moving. I have to keep walking. I have to keep doing something. So, I always recommend people if you want to go to Evo, you should definitely do it.
That's dope. That's dope.
No.
All right. Anime. When did you first start watching anime?
I was I was in elementary and started with Pokemon. But that's not what got me into anime. What got me into anime was when I was in middle school and the Toonami block was on, and Dragon Ball Z really absorbed me. But wasn't even that either, right? Like it just started like snowballing because I got into Dragon Ball because of Dragon Ball GT in Spanish. They were airing
Español.
it,
Okay.
yeah, they were airing it on Univision, and I was watching it. And I'm like, "Oh, shit," and then one day Toonami was on, and they showed Dragon Ball Z. I was like, "This is the same thing that I was watching." And I thought Dragon Ball GT was a prequel because Goku was a kid, so I was like, "Oh, he's older now. That means this is after. Let me watch it." And then I found out that Dragon Ball GT is a completely different thing. But then Yu Yu Hakusho came on, and that really got me into anime to the point where I figured out how to navigate on the transit system by myself as a middle schooler and found out there was a Chinatown that sold bootleg DVDs of anime. And I just went over there and I got not DVDs, VHS. And I got myself Berserk. I got myself the original Berserk, which I should have not gotten. I got myself Pokemon 2000, the one that came out with like right before that. Um, and I got myself Yu-Gi-Oh, not Yu-Gi-Oh. Wow. Yeah, it was Yu-Gi-Oh. It was the first like 5 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh, and more Dragon Ball Z and all of Yu Yu Hakusho that I could find.
Mm.
And they gave me a discount for it. I barely had any money to my name. I sold Pokemon cards and my Yu-Gi-Oh cards just to buy those VHSs. And I just started binge watching it. My mom hated it and would tell me to turn it off. So I will wait until she go to bed and watch it in my room. And as soon as I know it, I'm watching tons of different anime. Everything that Toonami was showing at that time, I'll just watch it. Even if I didn't know the context of what was happening, I was just binge watching it. But
Hmm.
Yu Yu Hakusho is what got me into anime heavily.
Yeah, it's so funny because everybody in our generation, aka the millennials, like that's how I got into it as well. Like literally the same. Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Before we knew what anime was, we were watching it on. For me, it was CW, but it was called something else back then. And then
WB.
yeah, WB, yeah, WB.
Yeah.
And then we had a channel called UPN because I'm from St. Louis, so Dragon Ball Z was on UPN back in the day, but I couldn't watch it at the time, so I had to like go over somebody's house because I think like it was considered cable back then, and I didn't have cable at the time. So I went over somebody else's house and I watched. I was like, "What the hell is this?" But then Toonami on Cartoon Network was literally like the entry point as well for me. Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha. Like I used to stay up late night watching Inuyasha. Like I remember, a lot of times falling asleep trying to watch it. I was so tired, but then waking up just hearing the theme music at the end, I'm like, this is some nice ass music. Like it was just so soothing. So yeah, so that was my entry point as well. I'm definitely not a super huge anime fan nowadays, but like during those times, I definitely watched a lot of a lot of Inuyasha, a lot of Yu Yu Hakusho. Like those are my main two. And then years past, I ended up like dating a girl who was super in anime. And then I ended up like finding out about a lot more anime. And then a lot of GI guys are in anime as well. So they'll like tell me about some things like, hey, you might like this. I'm like, okay. And then you, of course, like I find a lot of anime now through recommendations more than searching for it myself, because I don't really care that much
Yeah.
about it. But like I'll watch some dope anime if somebody recommends it and says that it's dope, and if I'm into it, because I don't like just shonen. I do like other types of anime as well. So, but I know the shonen is like the main thing for everybody. So that's cool. That's cool.
That's the more accessible and like popular stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
You
for
know,
sure,
and
for sure.
like and a lot of the people who are just getting into anime now, they have it very lucky because streams are there's anime almost everywhere now. It's super accessible.
Yeah,
You can just pop on Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime got anime too. Some really good stuff on there too that I recommend. Like Inuyashiki is one of the best anime out there that went so under the radar. I cannot believe it. It's a really good anime on Amazon Prime. But
Amazon Prime. Okay, all right.
yeah, it's very tragic. So it's if people are not like into that kind of stuff, they want like happy stuff. Yeah, don't watch that. But you know, when I was growing up, you had to be lucky to catch it on TV. So I will purposely run from my school. My school was like 3 blocks away from home. My fat ass will run straight home and not say hi to anybody, run straight into my room and hope that I could catch the 5 o'clock block of Toonami.
Yeah,
And I think at that time Dragon Ball would come on like 5:30 or 6 o'clock. I can't remember the exact time. So I would get there just in time just to catch that and then just binge watch the couple of hours of it and then wait until the late night anime will show up. And that was like there was some stuff. Inuyasha was one of them. I was watching
yep.
Inuyasha. Outlaw Star. I remember catching Outlaw Star on there. There was a couple, and yeah, that's really how it just roped me in, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We just had a back in my day type of moment. Back in my day, this is how we used to watch anime, kids. But yeah, that's how it was. That's how it was. So before I let you go, I got a couple more questions. 'Cause I know you're a busy man.
Sure.
What are some of the things that you like doing outside of watching anime and video games? What are some things that Saving the Bees like to do? Because I know you have a lot of lightsabers. So I know you like collecting lightsabers. You like taking photos, well, professional photos. So what are some of the other things you like to do?
I love doing photography and traveling. I
Traveling.
love traveling. I travel by myself, so like it's a lot easier for me to travel by myself because I'm not anybody else's schedule, you know. And primarily traveling and just honestly just walking and exploring and stuff like that. Like I feel like it's very for someone who struggles with mental health, it really helps me a lot to just kind of isolate myself a little bit, go for walks, just put on some music, get a little cardio in, and just kind of take a step back and decompress and just be in tune with myself a little bit because a lot of people don't know how to do that. They don't know how to be by themselves. So, and then I love reading comics. I read comics a lot, and so when I have free time, that's what I'm doing too. Uh, and if I'm not doing that, I'm a compulsive shopper. Like I'll be on Amazon buying shit I don't need, man, and then I
Mhm.
realize why I bought. I wake up on a Wednesday morning and I got like 3 packages at my door. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I go and return it back. I'm like, wait, I don't need this. Why did I buy it? And I go and return it.
Nah, that's crazy, bro. Hey, at least you know that you have a
It's
problem
it's
there.
it's a problem, man. It's a
That's
problem.
crazy. That's crazy. All right, final question. And this is one of the more important ones for me. Now going back to the no jumper interview, you told Adam in 5 years you wanted to start a network.
Yep,
It is now 2022.
yep.
Have you been successful with that? And if you have not, would you still like to start up your own network?
I've been in the process of it for about a year and a half now, working on it, and I've been silently looking at people who are going to work for me.
Mm.
It's yeah. I've been working on it a lot to the point where I'm like up at 7 o'clock in the morning, still putting things together for it. it's a long process because there's a lot of legalities behind it and stuff like that. And my whole goal is just to provide an outlet for people to get started that I didn't have. Because there's no reason why this industry should be as difficult as it is. There's
Yeah.
no need. And I'm 34. I don't know how much time I got left in the content creation space. I might wake up one day and be like, yeah, I'm done with it. I want to focus on something else. I might be streaming at 45. I don't know that. But I want to be prepared for the day that I decide to take a step back, that I have created a solid foundation for other people to build on. And I've been doing it in my Discord silently. I haven't been advertising my Discord. I've been testing it out with people in my community. And there's a lot of people in my community who now stream now because they started off in my Discord. They pop on live, they got 100 viewers. That's excellent. There's people getting partnered, getting affiliate, and stuff like that. I want to see that, and I want to figure out how I can keep doing it nonprofit.
Mm.
Because if I'm gonna make money, let a company pay me. I don't want to make money off of influencers. I want the big brands who make a lot of money to be the ones that's paying anybody anything. There's no reason for me to make money off of influencers. So I'm still working on that. Um, because once you get into that professional space, you gotta think about longevity and sustainability. And I need to figure out how it could sustain itself. Right. And I have a very solid team right now. So I'm hoping COVID kind of like set me back a lot because I was going to like be ready to launch in 2021, 2022 in hopes of doing it. And then I couldn't travel. I was stuck home like everybody else and stuff like that. So it did set me back a lot. And then I lost a lot of money in 2020. So, with me, I'm trying to put a lot of money aside so I can invest out of my own pocket into it. So I can make sure it's up and running, it's solid, and it's good to go. You know what I mean? I want it to be as stress free as possible. So yeah, I've been working on it for a while, man.
Businessman B. That's what I like to
Yeah.
hear. I definitely like
I,
to hear that you were, serious about that and that you
yeah,
were you were still actively doing it. So that's super
yeah.
dope.
There's people in my community who are already part of it.
Mm,
Yeah. And
cool.
I was talking to my boy Bebop about it when we were in Vegas.
Mm. What does just out of curiosity, what is Bebop? Is like Bebop an active content creator? Like what does he normally do?
He so he is kind of like right now. He started off as a moderator, and he's starting to like really join my main team of people who I work with and stuff like that. Um, he originally started as a community member who did his own content and stuff like that, and I slowly but surely forcing him back into content creation so he could build his own brand too. So I feel like everybody should have their own thing too, not just build other people up,
Yeah.
right? So like
Yeah.
slowly but surely getting him into content creation and trying to teach him everything that he needs to know that I learned so he could successfully transition from a full-time job and be comfortable doing content creation. Because if you work a full-time job, that should be supplementary to what you want to do, right? Not just, oh, I'm living for a paycheck, paying rent, and then if I got time to do content creation, I got time to do that, right? If you work a full-time job and you're looking to transition, that should fund your transition into content creation,
Mm.
right? Like your paychecks should be able to supplement, the gear, a new mic, computer, or whatever you need. So then you have a solid foundation to start streaming or doing YouTube or whatever you want to do. And then, you know, maybe get a sponsor that could pay you enough so you don't have to worry about subscriptions and AdSense revenue. And you could comfortably do the content you want to do without worrying about waking up the next day and worrying if you're going to pay rent or not.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm trying to teach them because it's not easy.
No.
I made it sound easy, but it's not easy. And it takes years and years and years to get to the point of what you want to do. There's people who's been doing it for 10 years and they're just finding their stride. I'm one of those people. So,
Me too. Me
exactly.
too.
So, like, and I'm hoping that I can get everything up and running so that it doesn't take 10 years for somebody to do it. The reason why it takes us 10 years is because it's a lot harder for us. A lot of people like us are doing it by ourselves. Very a few of us are very lucky to have the connections and not even just the connections. friends who are very knowledgeable in this space, doing the same thing that we do to help us so we can all learn and grow together.
Yeah.
That's a key thing. And for a long period of time, I was just doing everything by myself. I had no moderators. I only have moderators on my Twitch and my Discord. Everything else I do by myself, right? So like my business email, everything. Most of us do that. But for a while, I was just managing everything 100% by myself. And I realized I need help, man. I can't be in Discord 24/7, and I need a team of people that can be there and keep things going, and interactive. We got like 5,000 members, and we have like 3,000 people online. It's a huge retention rate in there, and a lot of people are really hungry to learn too. So it's really important that everything is just like a giant gear that keeps everything going. So, you know what I mean? And I just don't want people to feel like it's gonna take them 10 years to do it because it doesn't need to be that way. It
Yeah.
really doesn't, man.
Yeah, especially if you're
It
serious about it. Yeah, as long
Yeah.
as you have the knowledge and the help, and that's one thing that again I had to learn and get out of my own head, and I still kind of feel like it to an extent, but I think that in for all of my GI guys, like we did realize, it's I would say like in the last couple of years that like we do need help, like everybody needs help. And we started really getting more into finding out the inner workings of how this person got to this position, how this person got said brand deal, how this person got said sponsorship. And a lot of these people do have help. They have management companies that they work with. They have agencies that they work with. So I'm like, there's always somebody in their corner. Like it isn't just all by luck, just because you have 100,000 people in your stream and you're popping that the brands are going to come to you. And if they do, like just as a person who doesn't have any business sense, because none of us have any business sense unless you went to school for it. Literally none of us have any business sense. So we're all really learning on the fly. So that's when they have the agency, the agency people in the back, the agents helping them, to secure these deals. They're the ones who are setting them up for them, not the actual influencers. But these are things that again we had to learn. It's like, look, we can ask for help. It doesn't hurt. It's not going to make you feel like less of a man or less of a woman if you are getting said help. If it's from a management company, an agency, or even from a mutual who got to the position that you want to get to. So that was definitely something that I've been battling with for a while, and I ultimately learned that it's okay to ask for help. Not everybody is an asshole. Not everybody is trying to stab you in the back. And then say, hey, why that's that? You got stabbed. Like, hey, like it's a process though. It's definitely a process to learn about everything. But that's super dope. I'm super glad to hear that you have been working on it. Businessman Bees,
I've been doing my best, man. Like
yeah.
I have the tunnel vision, and I see that, like, what's my goal? My goal is to the day that I die, I want someone to be able to say, you know what, because of him, I managed to make it in this industry when I felt like I couldn't. If one person can say that, then I successfully accomplished what I sought out to do. Because, like, you know, the money, all that's temporary. You could literally make 5 grand in 1 month and then for 3 months not make a single dime.
Mm,
You can make 20 grand in 1 month and not make anything for the rest of the year. It's very common. And so when you get attached to these superficial things that are temporary, you're not going to be happy. And content creation should make people happy. Streaming should be something that people are happy about. A lot of people are just so unhappy because they don't know how to navigate through the BS, right? They don't know exactly what they're doing. I don't know a lot of the times why I'm doing either, but I know what's right for me, and I know that what would make me happy is to be able to build other creators so that they can see the industry doesn't have to be as unfair as it is right now because it's a very unfair industry.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
I could go on all day for the reasons that makes it unfair, and it doesn't need to be that way
Yeah.
at
Big
all.
facts. Big facts. Big facts. Wow, this was, and I knew it was going to be like that, but you really started diving into a lot of things that that again just gave me even more knowledge. You know, it's you as a person, you know, the whole navigating the industry type of stuff, and again just you as a human. So this was a very very dope conversation.
Yeah.
And I know that you did say, you know, whenever I'm in LA, which I don't know when, because the only time I went to LA was E3, and you know, I don't know if there's going to be E3 next year or even one that I want to attend, but I do definitely want to, you know, get up with you when I get out there in
Sure,
Cali, and we got to chop it up for sure. Cause I would, I
we
want
could
to,
we could even meet at Evo one day if you want to, man.
yeah,
I
yeah,
would
that's for
I'll be
sure.
I will personally get you a badge if you want.
That my guy.
Uh, you know, the offer is there.
Hey, hey, I'll take it. I ain't gonna say no. I ain't gonna say no. But this was super dope, man. I appreciate you for taking your time to talk with me, and I
Thank you for
definitely want
having
to.
me, man.
Yeah, I want to do some more stuff with you in the future. I want to
Sure.
talk to you some more off air as well. Because you could probably give me some more gems on some things that I may have some questions on. But this was super dope. Again, this is Saving the Bees. I have no clue
For
what I'm
having
going to
me, man.
call this, but I hope that you all enjoyed everything. Let me know if you want to see more of this. I definitely have some more people in mind with some more mindsets, but I knew that my guy here, Bees, was going to lay it out flat, lay it
Thank
true,
you.
because
Thank you,
that's
man.
all he could be. Yes,
Thank you for
thank you,
having me. This
thank
was
you.
fun.
Yes, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But other than that, man, we'll see you all later. Peace.
Peace.